Growing public anger in China. Citizens challenge Communist Party and call for rebellion. India will no longer import mobile phones from China as de-risking effect emerges. Cars crash and explode in Inner Mongolia. Why did the CCP suspend publishing the youth unemployment rate? Singapore arrests 10 money laundering suspects, all holding Chinese passports. Director of Peking University reveals that many medicines in China are ineffective but highly profitable. All will be covered today in China Undercover. If you find our information helpful, please subscribe and turn on the notification. It will help us get more motivation to produce more quality videos. Growing public anger in China. Citizens challenge Communist Party and call for rebellion. The Communist Party of China's wrong actions have caused growing anger among the Chinese people, especially as China's economy continues to decline and people become more aware. More and more Chinese are daring to speak out against the Communist Party. Recently, a video circulating online, where some mainland citizens express their thoughts, has made the Chinese Communist Party very concerned. In the video, several mainland internet users in their prime openly show their faces. What they say is basically the same. If war comes, please rest assured, motherland, just give us guns and the real enemy won't be able to escape. One internet user who saw this video said thoughtfully, "I'm curious why they emphasize the real enemies and grit their teeth when saying it." Another user replied, "That's why even toy guns are not allowed for kids on subways and trains now. This shows how scared the Communist Party is of the people's anger." Others said, "There's no need to feel down about nationalists on platforms like TikTok, Xiaohongshu, or Bilibili. Could you have imagined in August 2020, or 2022 that so many people would be challenging opinions online now? The changes happened faster than anyone expected. It's hard to imagine what August 2024 or 2025 will be like. The economy won't improve and opinions won't turn around." Recently, what has caught most attention is Sichuan's so-called new regulation, causing people to shout online about starting a business, meaning rebellion or uprising. Not long ago, a message that said Sichuan issues new rules. If the relocated households do not sign after the time limit, it can be forcibly executed, spread like wildfire online. Tens of thousands of internet users yelled, "Start a business." Online, this means rebel. India will no longer import mobile phones from China as de-risking effect emerges. European and American countries are trying to reduce their risk with China, which has caused changes in the supply chain. A report in China's First Financial Today says that because India's mobile phone assembly industry is getting better, the orders for 180 million phones that China used to send to India every year are gone. The report points out that last year, 96% of Apple's phone assembly was in China, and India was only about 4%. But since September last year, more and more people have noticed that their iPhone 14 boxes say assembled in India. The newest Apple phones are now made in India. Apple plans to move 25% of production to India by 2025. Even Chinese phone makers like Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo, as well as South Korea's Samsung, are assembling their flagship phones in India. This was not the case 2 years ago. For the past 10 years since 2014, China has sent up to 180 million phones to India each year. But lately, India's phone-making business has gotten so good that it doesn't need to import from China anymore. At the same time, India's custom data shows that phone imports have dropped from 200 million in 2014 to 3.77 million last year, a decrease of over 98%. Imports from China have dropped from 179 million to 2.19 million to 2.19 million. All of this highlights that, at least in phone making, India has become self-sufficient. And the focus of phone assembly and making has moved from China to India, and it hasn't stopped yet. Apple CEO Tim Cook has said many times that he sees India as an important market and even one of the most important markets for Apple's growth. This year, Apple plans to launch the iPhone 15 series first in India and increase its investment there. One of Apple's main factories, Foxconn, has always been important for shipping Apple phones worldwide. But in March this year, Foxconn's chairman, Liu Yu-yong, was seen shaking hands with India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. Lia's trip to India is seen as a sign that Foxconn is going to invest more in India. There's news that Foxconn will start making the newest iPhones in Karnataka, a southern state in India, next April. Researchers think that the new factory and plans to make more phones will raise India's assembly of iPhones from less than 5% to 15%. Cars crash and explode in Inner Mongolia. On August 16, a traffic accident happened in Tumd Zuoki, Inner Mongolia. Several cars crashed and caught fire, followed by explosions. The accident caused 2 deaths and 5 injuries. Videos on the internet show fierce flames at the scene with red fire and thick black smoke and several cars parked side by side on the road, burning. Other videos show the sound of explosions as the vehicles burn. Someone who knows about the incident told the Beijing News that at around 8 in the morning, cars crashed and caught fire and 3 or 4 vehicles were on fire. A witness, Mr. Zhang, told Guizhou's People's Concern that there were 3 big trucks and 2 small cars, and a car that was filling gas probably hit a gas pipe and exploded. He said that if people could run out, they might be okay, but those who couldn't might have been burned to death. According to an official report from Hohhot City, the traffic accident occurred at about 7:50 on the 16th, causing 1 person to die on the spot, 1 person to die on the spot, 1 person to die after failed rescue, and 5 others to be injured. The report said that when a heavy truck driven by a person named Shi was traveling east at the 546.1 kilometer mark on National Road 110, it rear-ended a heavy tank truck driven by someone named Zhu. This caused the liquid inside the tank truck to leak and catch fire, leading to various degrees of fire damage to 7 other cars passing by at that time. Why did the CCP suspend publishing the youth unemployment rate? Experts: the numbers are scary. In July, 12 million college graduates entered the job market. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, suddenly stopped announcing youth unemployment rates, which many believe shows that the employment situation is getting worse. Experts think that the real unemployment rate in China must be a scary number, and the CCP is frightened and doesn't dare to announce it. Some people online asked the government, "Do you think covering people's mouths and eyes will solve the problem?" Others made fun of the situation, saying things like it's too hard to keep pretending everything's okay, and the situation is so bad, let's pretend it doesn't exist. Yang Han, a former Chinese diplomat in Australia, said on Twitter that not publishing the data shows China's economy is getting worse. Previously, the government stats showed that China's youth unemployment rate went up from 20.4% to 1.3% from April to June, the highest ever. But a professor at Peking University said if you count all the young people who aren't working, the real rate could be as high as 46.5% in March. Even though the government says that working just 1 hour a week counts as being employed, they still stopped announcing the youth unemployment rate. This means the real unemployment rate in China might be even worse. According to a report in France's Le Monde, the CCP has found a solution to the rising youth unemployment rate. Just stop publishing the number. The report also mentions how the CCP suddenly stopped announcing daily numbers of infected and dead people from an infection last December. There hasn't been any official response from the CCP, but in July 2022, hackers stole data from the Shanghai public security system and sold it online, showing that China's population is nearly 1,400 million less than the official number. Human Rights Watch's Sophie Richardson said that when information is not what the Chinese government wants to see, the response is censorship, whether it's data about public health disasters or inequality. Right now, the biggest problem the CCP faces is the economy getting worse out of control. Important economic numbers from July show things like retail sales slowing down and industrial growth dropping. This could also mean China is getting into a really scary economic situation called deflationary spiral. Prices go down, business profits go down, people's wages go down, so they can't spend money, which makes prices go down more, and so on. Singapore arrests 10 money laundering suspects, all holding Chinese passports. Singapore police reported on the evening of August 16 that 10 foreigners were arrested for suspected crimes of forging documents and money laundering. The total amount involved is 1 billion Singapore dollars, about 735 million US dollars, about 735 million US dollars. All 10 people hold Chinese passports. The ages of those arrested range from 31 to 44 years old. Another 8 people are wanted by the police, and 12 are cooperating with the investigation. The police said that these people are connected to each other. None of them hold Singaporean passports or residency cards. The arrests took place on August 15. According to a report by Central News Agency, all 10 of the arrested money laundering suspects come from Fujian, China. 3 of them only have Chinese passports, while the other 7 use passports from countries like Cyprus, Turkey, and Cambodia to enter Singapore. But they all hold Chinese passports. To assist with the investigation, Singapore police have issued orders to freeze 94 pieces of real estate and 50 cars, with a total value of about 815 million Singapore dollars, about 599 million US dollars, about 599 million US dollars. The authorities also froze at least 35 bank accounts. The total balance of these accounts is 110 million Singapore dollars, about 81 million US dollars, about 81 million US dollars. Additionally, they seized foreign currency cash equivalent to 23 million Singapore dollars, about 17 million US dollars, over 250 designer bags and watches, 120 computers and phones, over 270 pieces of jewelry, 2 gold bars, and 11 falsified documents. Director of Peking University reveals that many medicines in China are ineffective but highly profitable. Recently, the Chinese authorities started a big anti-corruption campaign in the medical field. This has led to a lot of talk about problems in China's healthcare system. The director of Peking University's Health Development Research Center, Lai Ling, openly talked about dark secrets in Chinese hospitals' use of medicine. A video of her saying that Chinese hospitals' medicines are useless and highly profitable has gone viral on the internet. Li Ling was interviewed by the media in 2019, and the video is now popular on social media. She plainly said, "In our country, ordinary people have to visit several hospitals for a common cold, while in other countries, you don't even need to go to the hospital. If we told patients to just go home and drink water, our hospitals would be out of business. This is why we waste so many resources." She also said, "Right now, over 40 of our medical expenses are for medicine. Compared to Western countries, we found that in places like the UK, the best medicines, like those for cancer, are completely covered by insurance. But in our country, life-saving medicines for serious diseases like cancer are hardly covered, so the reimbursement is very low." Li Ling also added that a lot of the medicines used are safe, ineffective, and highly profitable, and that we don't need them at all. There are also reports of patients being wrongly charged by hospitals. Recently, a phone recording of a patient questioning a doctor went viral on the internet. The patient had a sprained ankle but was asked to get a heart test and other unrelated exams. In the call, the patient asked the doctor, "Do you have to do all these tests for any problem? Is this a hidden rule at your hospital?" The doctor replied, "It's a regular checkup when you're admitted to the hospital." The patient continued to ask if the tests were related to the ankle injury, and the doctor eventually admitted that they were not. The patient said, "So why are you making us do these tests?" The doctor tried to explain that it's just something they normally do when someone is admitted to the hospital, but the patient kept asking who made this rule. The doctor stayed quiet and didn't respond. Regarding the corruption issue in China's healthcare system, China expert Wang, he stated, "China's medical corruption has been around for a long time. The whole healthcare system is very bad, with the practice of using medicine to make up for poor healthcare. It's all about chasing money and having no morals. Doctors, who should be caring angels, have turned into greedy wolves. The conflict between doctors and patients is really intense." However, Wang He thinks that the Chinese government has another goal behind this anti-corruption campaign in the medical industry. By fighting hospital corruption, they can kill many birds with one stone and make the people blame someone else for their problems. China's whole healthcare system is actually in a really tough spot, and it can't be fixed just by fighting corruption. Every hospital has a lot of special rooms for it. High-ranking officials, and they use up a lot of resources. There's no hope of changing this. This fight against corruption is just a big show. Xi Jinping's absence from public eye continues. Chinese leaders end BID meeting amid economic challenges and unrest. On August 15, Deng Xiaoping, a top member of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, went to Zhejiang to attend an event and share the instructions of Xi Jinping. This might mean that a big meeting in BID is over. Since attending a promotion ceremony for generals on July 31, Xi Jinping hasn't been seen in public. China's Xinhua news agency reported on August 15 that the first National Eco Day event was held in Huzhou, Zhejiang. Deng Xiaoping was there and spoke about Xi Jinping's important instruction. He said that under Xi's leadership, a lot of new work has been done, and the achievements in building an eco-friendly culture are world-famous. A commentator named Zhong Yuan wrote on August 16 that CCP leaders must have left BID. Xi's instructions are seen as a big political issue, hinting that Xi's top position hasn't changed. Xi Jinping's last public appearance was on July 31. After that, he has not been seen. On August 13, the CCP's government said that they want to make it easier for foreign companies to invest in China. They will use Xi's thinking as a guide and use this money to help build a modern socialist country. Zhong Yuan said that the CCP talks about Western ideas but wants Western money to help socialism. He believes that even though some things don't make sense, they still follow Xi's thinking or Xi at the core. Right now, things inside and outside China are confusing, and there have been natural and human-made disasters. Floods have happened in places like Zhuzhou. People are angry, and the economy is having a hard time. Many people don't have jobs, and some businesses like real estate, tech, and education are hurt. These areas are where young people often work. A professor named Victor Shi told the Financial Times that even though Xi's government is trying hard to help the economy, the leaders in BID are limited because they put the party's interests above economic growth. Reports say that this year's BID meeting is the first since Xi became the CCP leader for the third time last October. But the meeting might be troubled because of the economy getting worse and problems with the West. A leader from the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests, Wang Dan, thinks that even though Xi's government looks strong, it's actually in danger. He said that they probably talked about the economy, internal policies, and foreign relations at BID, but it doesn't look like they have any good plans to solve the crisis. And that is today's episode. If you found this video informative, please subscribe and ring a bell to get notification. Thank you for watching, and see you next time